Welcome to the Aero General Service channel. I'm your host, Corey Bartolotti, and in today's video, we have a pretty simple one here for you. Basically, what we have going on is a previous drainage installer installed this system on this property, and he left 3 4-inch pipes sticking out of the ground, and they were never cut flush with the drains installed on them. Basically, from what I understand, is he just walked off the job and never returned. So what we're here to do today is we're going to dig around these 4-inch pipes. We're going to cut them down. We're going to put cup links on them, and we're going to go ahead and install the 4-inch grates. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, as you can see, I'm using the MultiTool to go ahead and cut around this 4-inch SDR35 pipe. I find using the MultiTool for this is a lot easier than trying to get the Sawzall in here with a Sawzall blade, because then we'd have to dig a lot more around all these shells to be able to get that Sawzall down and into the hole to be able to make a good clean cut on it. The MultiTool just kind of allows you to get in there and make this cut a lot easier than the Sawzall would. Once we have the pipe cut down to the height that we want it, we went ahead and we glued a cup link on, and that will accept a 4-inch circle drain grate. Now, we opted to use an Atrium grate instead of a flat grate for this application because we wanted it to always be above these shells, and we didn't want the shells to cover over the grate. By using an Atrium grate, that allows the shells to go right up to it, and they can never actually cover the grate, impeding any flow of water. Now, this area is not really a traveled area, because if you're going to use an Atrium grate, remember an Atrium grate sticks up out of the ground, hence the name Atrium grate. And you don't want to put an Atrium grate in an area with a lot of foot traffic because it could be a trip hazard and somebody could trip over it. This area, people don't really walk through it, and the grate is pretty well seen because there's nothing but decorative shell around it. So we felt pretty confident in putting an Atrium grate in this area. Remember, when working with PVC and gluing joints together, always hold the joint for a couple extra seconds. That way it allows the plastics to make a good tight bond. The last PVC stub out was located in a garden bed in some mulch up against a fence. So we're going to go ahead and use the same method that we used on the other two, and we're going to use an Atrium grate in this one as well. Now remember, whenever working, always try to be surgical. Try to be as non-invasive as possible. That way, cleaning up the job site and putting everything back together is a lot simpler, and it saves you a lot of time and effort. The last thing we're going to go ahead and do is put the garden hose in the furthest drain in the back, and we're going to let the water run and see how long it takes for that water to exit the system and how well the flow is. This property is located on a canal that leads out into the bay, and it has a retaining wall. It has a seawall in the back. Now, the existing drain lines that popped out of this seawall are the old school gray thin wall 4-inch PVC. The drainage contractor that did the drainage system on this property, he connected his SDR into these thin wall stub outs. Now, I don't know the pitch of his pipe, obviously, because it's buried, so there's no way to tell, but these stub outs that he connected into, the pitch is way off. It backflows back towards the property instead of going towards the bay. So the water is going to take a minute to get to the outfall here. And once it does start to come out, you're going to see the debris and the water is backflowing, and it's not traveling the way it should travel. This isn't the most ideal situation to have, but it's also not the end of the world. The line still drains water, and it's a straight piped discharge opposed to a pop-up. So even though the slope is slightly off, it's better that it's straight piped right out the seawall than at a pop-up discharge or anything like that. I told the homeowner just to keep an eye on this system and to clean it out a little bit more regularly than your average system that was installed properly with the proper pitch and slope. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you the other thing that this seawall has installed on the top of it. Installed at the top of this seawall are 4-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipes that connect into one-way check valves. Now, a one-way check valve is a valve that allows water to flow in one direction but does not allow it to flow back. The reason these one-way check valves are installed on these seawalls is because if the water level raises high enough to allow water to go over the seawall, that water can quickly drain out once the water level in the canal lowers down, and the water will go through that one-way check valve and exit back into the canal. But if the water level rises up to these 4-inch pipes, but not high enough to go over the seawall, those one-way check valves will not allow that water to go through that drain because that one-way check valve will prevent that. All right, well, we hope you enjoyed this video and you were able to gain some knowledge from watching it. And remember, we serve the Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas counties of Florida. And if you have any yard drainage issues, give us a call. We'll come out there and assess the situation and design a system that fits your needs. And until next time, this is Aero General Services signing off.